Hi everybody. So about Windchill as a PLM system. Okay, so Windchill is really an enterprise system for your product data, and there are three main pillars to that. The first one is the digital product definition. So that's managing all of that digital content that you are creating, be that CAD documents, whatever. Okay, lots of digital information being generated. The second part in the middle there is around the processes around how you manage that data as it evolves over its life cycle, how you handle that, work with that, approve it, change it, whatever that might be. And the third part is visualization of that data. Okay, so the ability for people who aren't necessarily involved in the creation of that information, there's still plenty of people who need to view and consume that data. So the ability to see that, maybe make comments and markups on that without access to the native files or the native tools to generate those files. Okay, so they're three big parts of Windchill as a PLM system. I guess to talk more about the sort of capabilities, a little bit deeper dive into those capabilities in the earlier slide that Paul showed. So I guess in terms of the capabilities of Windchill, there's a lot of things you can see here. As Paul mentioned, what we're going to focus on today is around BOM management, how to get that complete BOM, and really the bits and pieces that go with that BOM. Okay, so here we're talking about things like MCAD data, documents, maybe software, as well as ECAD data management. Okay, and as we mentioned, ECAD data management is now being provided by the XPLM solution. Okay, so in terms of how Windchill manages information, it uses this object-based digital data model. So we have this this gear that you can see here on the screen. We'll see that when we get into Windchill itself, and that's really the representation of the object that our company deals with. Whether we design and make and buy or sell or whatever it might be, service it, that's the object. Okay, so that object might have a multi-level product structure. Okay, so it might not just be a single part; there'll be part of a structure. It could have 3D CAD information or CAD information that describes that. Here we're seeing some Creo information, assemblies and parts and drawings. There might be derived content coming from that. Okay, we have history and versions of that. So as we check that in and check it out and evolve it over time, we have configurable metadata and attributes. Okay, so that could be things that are maybe static, like its part number. That could be changing, like who last modified it. All kinds of information that we can have against that object. Those objects will have automation through workflows and be lifecycle management as they evolve over time. When we're looking to manufacture these, we might have approved manufacturer or vendor lists for supplied parts or stuff we can outsource for manufacturing. A big part is having documents that help describe that object. That could be controlled or uncontrolled documents, things like material specification sheets, data sheets, manuals, SOPs, whatever that might be. Okay, and then we can have all this other information, quality information, other bits and pieces that is also linked into that, and we can search and find and use that. Okay. That's really the idea of how Windchill manages information. So, the big part of Windchill is that content management side of things. Okay, so the ability to manage both 2D and 3D CAD data is what we're talking about in this particular slide. Documentation as well. But yeah, the CAD side of things is a big part for many of our customers. Okay, so that covers the main 3D mechanical CAD systems you see listed here, as well as 2D, I should say. A lot of CAD's on there as well. Okay, and also ECAD. So as Paul mentioned, moving forward now, the ECAD integrations for Windchill are being done by XPLM. So PTC did have some products, their own workgroup manager was used to do that, but they've decided to move forward with XPLM solution. And that came in a couple of releases ago, first in Windchill 11.1, okay, and it's available now for the supported versions of Windchill. So in terms of managing that content, just to, I guess, talk a little bit more detail about what this looks like from a Windchill perspective. So for those of you, I know there's some of you here who do have Windchill, okay, use that currently. So in terms of how we manage stuff, so we have, we store information as documents, okay? So we could have CAD documents that can come from a CAD system. So it could take, our Creo assembly here. It's got associated drawings, and we can go and manage that inside Windchill. Okay, check in, check out, version control, all that kind of stuff. Okay, we can also manage documents. So these can be any kind of other file that's not a CAD file. Okay, so PDFs, Word documents, movies, whatever you like. We can also check them in and out. But what we also have is that gear icon that I was talking about, what we call parts in Windchill. So we can say that when we check in our CAD document, we can also create an equivalent part structure. So this is our object model. And this is where you start to move more into Windchill as a PLM system, to use these parts, or WT parts as we often call them. Okay. So we can work that, and then the idea is that golf cart part, this one shown over here, is really the object that we make. Okay, so we can then start to do things like we could maybe relate that document to that part to start linking all those bits of information. Okay, but then we might have other bits and pieces, right? So we might make golf bags in a separate division of the company, but they just do AutoCAD drawings. But still, we can still manage that. We can still check that, and we can create a part for that. But what we can start to do is start to build up a more complete bill of materials. Okay, so we can take that golf bag part and we can actually add it into the golf cart structure. So now we've got essentially a multi-CAD structure in Windchill that isn't defined in one single CAD system. Or maybe we're going to have the manual, on our bill of materials. When we ship this product out the door, the manual's a printed piece of documentation that goes in the box. Okay, so we might have the manual. We might relate that to the Word document, and again, we can add that into the bill of materials. So we can start to build up this more complete BOM that's a mix of CAD and documentation. Okay, so that's what Windchill lets us do as a PLM system.